Based on the recent IAEA report, they analyzed the wastewater collected from the treatment plant after the treatment. And then they found that there were at least 7 different types of radionuclides, including strontium, cesium, iodine, carbon-14, and so forth. These chemicals will be dispersed into the ocean. Some of them eventually will touch down to the seabed and being stored in the sediment. And then over time, these kind of pollutants will be accumulated in the seabed and then maybe one day attain to a threshold that may cause adverse effects to the ecosystem and also human health. So those water actually coming from the maintenance, we call it maintenance water. When they required to dismantle some of the parts of the system, then the wastewater will come off. Then the volume is not that great, okay? Then those water mainly contain tritium without those last tier radionuclides, okay? This is important. Since the volume is not too big, then they can be stored in a bigger tank and then let them degrade naturally. They only discharge those water maybe once for a while, then maybe once per year, twice per year. Some part not even discharge them at all. So then that means the composition is different, mainly tritium, and also the discharge frequency is very limited. Then on the contrary, in Fukushima situation, they use the water, no matter seawater or rainwater, to cool down the reactor. Then those water have a direct contact to the uranium reactor, which release over 60 some of those nucleotides with high radioactivities. So the composition is very different. And then the volume is very different. Now, just the storage tanks in Fukushima area with 500 Olympic-sized swimming pool. So they're going to discharge this wastewater every minute for more than 30 years. Then the frequency is different. And then the composition is different. Okay, even though after treatment, there are still different types of radionuclides, as I told before. Since they discharge the wastewater after dilution, okay, then that means the concentration of those radionuclides will be maintained in low level. Since they discharge this low level of radionuclides into the ocean, then the marine organisms, including the planktons, zooplankton, and all forms of marine life, they are exposed to this low dose of radionuclides. So far, we don't have much scientific information to suggest the chronic toxicity of those radionuclides to different species. So we need more investigation in terms of the long-term chronic effect of those radionuclides to the ecosystem. As I mentioned before, some of these radionuclides like cesium, strontium, they behave like heavy metals. They will sink down to the seabed. They can also acquired by the marine organism, transfer through the food web, and also biomagnify in upper trophic levels, that leading to high concentration of those metal-like radionuclides like cesium. In May, Japan found a fish which contains cesium, the radiocesium concentration exceeding the safety limit by 180 times. So that means this can happen and will happen if the discharge continues for 30 years, and then some of the species or marine species on high trophic level, they may have high level of those radionuclides. If humans consume those contaminated fish, they will suffer from some health defect. For example, they may not feel well, and if in high dose for cesium, for example, we can discharge some of them, but some of them will remain with us for a long time because they can attach to our bones, attach to our tissues, and then they have this high energy that will trigger mutation of our DNA. Some of the mutation may cause cancers, like the thyroid cancer seems quite common in Fukushima area in those people being exposed to those radionuclides. Other cancers, including leukemia, that's also common in those radioactive sites.